How many of you here like to dream? Or how many of you go after your dreams? I'm a dreamer too. I like catching dreams. Perhaps that's what led me to write and name my debut book, Dreaming of Everest. It was the dream of Everest that lured me to the base of the world's highest mountain. It's been a fantastic journey from being a dreamer, storyteller, writer, and now a published author. With its share of winding turns, steep inclines, dead ends, and magnificent highs. I started writing stories at a very young age. I had a wild, vivid imagination. From writing about imaginary friends, daily events, to dustbins, I used to cover a wide range of topics. Very soon, I was winning short story competitions in high school. But I was a very quiet, reserved child. I would always keep to myself. However, an empty page was my playground where any random thought that came to my mind would be brought to life. Then, for a very long time, I took a break from writing. I got busy with life, the usual rat race, which stream of, to choose, commerce, non-med, which college to go to, get good marks, get into a good university, like the one I'm standing in right now, and later on a career path. It's only, much later in hindsight that I realized that I had sort of lost my way. I was so focused on my professional career that I had forgotten about my dream. Then, about a decade ago, I went to Ladakh, this stark, beautiful, high altitude desert in northern India. And that is where I realized that this is what I love to do, which is travel. You see, I'm a born explorer. Curiosity drives me. And I'm sure many of you here are curious as well. It was 2014, and I was on the banks of Pangong Lake, this turquoise blue, high altitude lake on the Indo-China border. And there was something within me that wanted to be expressed. So I went around asking strangers for a piece of paper and pen. I went to random, neighboring tents on the banks of the lake, and I finally got my hands on one. And that is where I wrote a poem, which became the very first post on a travel blog that I started at the time, which is called backpackingindianchica.blogspot.in, because I have been traveling since a very young age, since 17. So I'm a solo traveler and backpacker, or at least I used to be. Later on, I changed the name of my blog because I realized I need to be a little more age appropriate. So I made it Traveling Chica, which is also incidentally my Instagram ID. As an individual, I am always looking to learn and grow, explore a new side of me. What else is it that I can do? This is something that travel has taught me. How to react in an uncomfortable situation, or how do you get out of a sticky situation, or simply how to go with the flow. Soon, I was contributing articles to leading publications. However, that was not a walk in the park. After dozens of cold emails, I would get one or two responses. But that gave me hope. Hope is your friend. Remember that. Soon, the very same magazines and newspapers were reaching out to me for any kind of story that I may have on my adventures around the world. After some time, it did not give me the same high anymore. So I thought to myself, what next? Should I write a book? It seemed like a great idea, but I didn't know how to go about it. So then I joined a creative writing course at IGNOU in 2019. Now, for the subject matter, I've always been writing about travels, and that is something what I think I'm good at, or at least that's what I'm told. Now, for what my subject or for the dissertation was to be, I thought of writing about this incredible adventure, which coincidentally I'd been on the very same year. I went to the Everest Base Camp. However, the journey to EBC was also challenging. I had never been on a high altitude multi day trek. See, I love the mountains and I love hiking. So there were many weekend treks or hikes that I'd been on, but never a high altitude one. EBC is not recommended for somebody who hasn't been on a high altitude trek, but at that time, I was looking for a challenge in life. I've been traveling, like I said, since a really young age. And at that point, I was going through a tough phase in my personal life. So I thought, okay, this is something which is on my bucket list. Let's just go for it. But I was very scared. For months leading up to the trek, I could barely see Everest in my dreams. But I trained hard. So along with my full-time job, come rain or shine, I would wake up at 5:30 a.m., get ready, go to the gym. This was in the dead of winter. I live in Gurgaon, and as soon as you would open your curtain or draw your curtain, you could just see thick smog outside. But I would quickly gobble a banana and out the door would I go to the gym. On my way back, I would climb up 19 stories with a backpack just so that I could prepare my lungs for the high altitude environment. And I would do it 2 minutes on the clock. So that was the level of commitment to this goal, undeniable focus that this is what I want to get to. And eventually, in May 2019, I traversed some of the most remote, beautiful mountain scenery in Nepal. I went through blooming rhododendron forests of different hues, gushing streams, the roaring river, chirping birds. I was happy as a child. I love nature, and on that winding trail, I felt so light and free. It was like all of my worries had disappeared into the air. It's also on the trek that I realized that we carry a lot of mental baggage, a lot of weight unnecessarily, other people's opinions, etc. And it's always good to carry light or travel light so that you can focus on your own journey. The trek started off on a very adventurous note. So we were to fly to Lukla, which is known as one of the most dangerous airports in the world. It was an extremely bumpy ride, and I thought, this is it. You know what? I'm not going to make it because it was shaking and it was going down 2-3 feet in the air, and you're in the middle of this valley, and you're just thinking, oh, my life is going to flash in front of me, but it didn't. So perhaps in hindsight, that was a sign that I would make it. As soon as we got to Lukla, there was this torrential rainstorm which scattered the entire group. So Mother Nature was really testing us. Only the strongest would pull through. Over the 2-week adventure, we experienced all sorts of weather, from rain, hail, snow, high force gale winds where you would probably just get blown off a cliff, to thick fog. Like you could barely see a few feet in front of you. So it was challenging for the mind while the legs were moving or we were trying to take it one step at a time. It was also mental fortitude or mental strength which kept us going. But along the way, there were many reminders that this is going to be tricky. There were many people who were being brought down because of altitude mountain sickness, which is what I was so scared of. So whenever that nervous knot would come back in my stomach, I would just focus on the path ahead. I would try to keep my mind clear of any doubts. We would walk 7 to 8 kilometers every day, gaining 300 meters in altitude. And that's a lot for somebody who's living a very cushy life in a metro city, and suddenly every day you're walking in harsh weather conditions. Towards the end of the evening, we would just want to go sit in front of a warm Bukhari and just dry our socks, etc. I also have to tell you that I am a germaphobe, and on this trek, I was unable to even have a bath for a week, which is unexplainable to my family and friends, but I did it because that is the amount of focus that I had at the time. On some days, we would go step out in the icy cold weather and look at the Milky Way. I had never seen so many stars in my life. But all of those stars gave me hope that I was on the right path and that I would make it. See, I like talking to the universe, or I believe that it talks to me as well. So these little signs would make me feel like it's okay, you'll get there. But then, 3 days prior to reaching the base camp, I felt very sick. I got the dreaded Kumbu cough, which is a high altitude cough. Coupled with that, I had a runny nose, I was sneezing profusely, I had a heavy head and high fever. No amount of medication worked in that environment. Plus, I had to keep walking because if I stopped to take some rest, I would be left behind. And that would be the end of my dream, which is not something I was willing to sacrifice on because I was so close, but yet so far. I was breathless. I was extremely weak. I think I was also delirious at some point in time. And closer to base camp, I lay down on a rock and I just looked up at the sky. And I could see one of those rescue helicopters going up overhead. At that moment in time, all I wanted was a bed. Any bed to just lie down and take some rest. But then we heard that the weather was going bad and we might not even get the window to go to Everest Base Camp. And also there was a rumor that there's Tom Cruise at base camp. So I think that's what gave me that extra spurt of energy, and suddenly I started trotting slowly still, but I made it to base camp. And when I was there, it was snowing. I looked up at the sky and I burst into tears of joy. All of the congestion in my chest just magically melted away because I had made it. This is what I had been waiting for at least half a year. All of that hard work had paid off. In hindsight, I think there was synchronicity at play. Later, after my trek, the same year, I bumped into Peter Hillary, who is the son of Sir Edmund Hillary, at a party in Delhi. He has written the foreword for my book. Along the way, I also met Tenzing Norgay's niece, which is again one of those strange coincidences that nobody can explain. Coming back to my IGNU course, I submitted a novella based on the Everest Base Camp experience, and I got a straight A from my professor. So that gave me hope that I can convert this into a book. So off I went, writing away for at least a year. And then there was this tall task of finding a publisher. Now, as a new debut author, it was extremely tough. Probably as tough as the entire journey to the base camp, if not tougher. I reached out to everybody, big, small, medium publishers in India, abroad, whoever, whichever contact somebody gave me, I would reach out to them, but there was rejection after rejection. So I would feel completely dejected and low. It was like, your heart is just going into your stomach because you're just feeling so depressed. But then the next day, I would wake up and I would try again. And this went on for close to a year till I found my publisher, Yuki Oto, that published this book for me and made my dream come true. As soon as the book was released, which was actually a year ago, so I'm glad that I'm standing here telling you about this now, it went straight to the top of the charts on Amazon. It became an Amazon bestseller. All the blood, sweat, and tears, obviously, were rewarded, and I got some good reviews and great press for the book as well. In conclusion, there are a few lessons from this journey of mine that I would like to share with you. One of them, and the most important I feel, is to travel light. Let go of unnecessary things. Whatever other people, friends, family, whoever, whatever they're saying that you can't do this or can't do that, let go of that and focus on your own journey. But travel light. Don't carry unnecessary baggage with you. Secondly, what is your purpose? Figure that out. What is it that you like doing or spend most of your time dreaming of or even doing for that matter? Pursue that path. You never know where it gets you tomorrow. Thirdly, hone your talent. So like I said, keep learning new things. While I have studied economic honors and done my master's in business management from Warwick Business School in the UK. After that, I came back to India and I also studied mass communication. And I believe that is what led me to my job today, because I work in the television industry, which I had no prior experience in. So it's only looking back that you can connect the dots, but you should just think that you are on the right path, even if you have to take some turns here and there. Lastly, believe in yourself and your abilities. You are unique. You do have something to give back to the world. But just keep moving one step at a time. Regardless of the mountain you choose to conquer, the key is to take that first step. From my journey, what I can tell you for sure is that the domino effect need not come from external forces and can be intrinsically motivated, as our destiny lies in our own hands. So get out of your comfort zone, break through those shackles of your mind, keep dreaming, and conquer your Everest. In the words of Sir Edmund Hillary, it is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. And that is my story and the story of my book. Thank you.